Welcome to Madame Talk Europe, the podcast by Madame Rap, which aims to give visibility to LGBT plus rappers in Europe. Over 6 episodes, we will explore the rap scene in 6 European countries. I am Éloïse Bouton, founder of Madame Rap, the first and only media outlet dedicated to women and LGBT plus people in hip-hop. It has existed since 2015 and is now available in French, English and Spanish. In this first episode, we will focus on France. According to the study by the National Music Centre titled Rap in the French Musical Ecosystem, published in May 2024, rap was the music genre that generated the most streams per track in 2024, with 6.4 million. However, LGBT plus rappers remain largely invisible in this scene, rarely signed by major record labels, little highlighted by mainstream media, and often forgotten at festivals. Today, we are going to talk about all this and more with our guests. Joining me are Thérèse, a multidisciplinary committed artist, and Antoine Dabrowski, editor-in-chief of Tsugi Radio. Hello to both of you. Thérèse. Hello, Éloïse. Thanks for having me. Antoine Dabrowski. Hello, Éloïse. Thank you for having us. Éloïse Bouton. To start, let me briefly introduce you. Thérèse, you are a multidisciplinary committed artist of Chinese, Laotian, and Vietnamese descent. You grew up in France, in Val-de-Marne, and in Seine-Saint-Denis, but you also lived in Lyon, Barcelona, Beijing, and Munich before settling in Paris. Is that correct? Thérèse. Yes, that's right. Well summarized. Éloïse Bouton. Great. And Antoine, you're the editor-in-chief of Tsugi Radio, which is an extension of the monthly music magazine Tsugi, founded in 2007. You have a long career at Radio France, particularly at France Inter. You founded Tsugi Radio in 2015. Is that right? Antoine Dabrowski. Exactly. I worked for 18 years at Radio France, mostly at France Inter. And in 2015, I launched Tsugi Radio. It's been almost 9 years now. We started small, but over time, we've built a stronger team with several collaborators and partners. Éloïse Bouton. That's great. So, a first question for both of you. Have you had the opportunity to collaborate on your respective projects? Antoine Dabrowski. Yes, we know each other a bit. Thérèse is one of the artists I've followed from the beginning. She has something truly unique. I've been interested in her project since its creation in 2020. I believe we first met at Crossroads. If I'm not mistaken, Thérèse? Thérèse. Yes, it was at Crossroads, but also at the Inuits Electra Île-de-France. These events are really important moments for meeting and talking with other artists and professionals in the industry. Antoine Dabrowski. Exactly. I've always been impressed by Thérèse's commitment and her ability to navigate between several musical genres while addressing important topics. Thérèse. Thank you, Antoine. For me, it's crucial to create sincere connections with people in the music press. I think time is a good test of the depth and sincerity of these relationships. Often, at first, everyone is curious to discover new artists, but over time, you see who continues to support an artist for their values and work, not just for the novelty. Evolution of Tsugi Radio and musical diversity. Éloïse Bouton. Antoine, I'd like to know how Tsugi Radio has evolved. The print magazine was primarily focused on electro at first. How would you describe the musical direction of Tsugi today? Antoine Dabrowski. Tsugi has always had the mission of discovering and showcasing emerging trends. In the beginning, in 2007, many of these new trends were linked to electronic music, but over the years, we've expanded our spectrum. Now we cover a much broader range of music, including rock, rap, pop, and many other genres. Our goal remains the same, to be attentive to new trends, new scenes, and the underground, while continuing to honor our electronic roots. Éloïse Bouton. Thérèse, As an artist who blends several styles from electro to techno to rap in French, English, and even Chinese, do you think this diversity is sometimes seen as a disadvantage in the music industry? Thérèse: absolutely. Many times I've been told that I need to pick a style, focus on just one genre to make marketing my music easier. But that goes against who I am. My musical approach is intrinsically hybrid, and I believe this diversity is what makes my music unique. The audience is ready for this diversity. However, the music industry often struggles to handle artists like me, who don't fit into pre-established molds. Audiences' tastes are also very influenced by mainstream media, which prefer well-defined genres. Antoine Dabrowski: yes, and that's where the industry really goes wrong. They hesitate to promote artists who don't fit specific formats. It's a big limitation because it stifles innovation and musical diversity. Visibility of women and queer artists in rap. Éloïse Bouton: let's talk now about the visibility of women and queer artists in rap. According to the CNN study, less than 2% of female rappers appeared in the top 10,000 rap tracks in France. Why do you think these numbers are so low, and what can we do to change this? Antoine Dabrowski: there's clearly a lack of risk-taking on the part of major record labels. Many of these labels still believe that signing female rappers or queer artists won't be profitable. They use sexist or outdated arguments, like saying it's more expensive to promote a woman, citing ridiculous things like the cost of makeup and hairdressing. It's absurd and shows just how stuck the industry is in old stereotypes. Thérèse: exactly. This discourse is repeated too often without being questioned. When I spoke with Warner at the beginning of my project, they told me they only did mainstream music and that my style didn't fit with what they were doing. I quickly realized that to work with them, I would have to compromise my values and my artistic identity, which I wasn't willing to do. Antoine Dabrowski: it's an ideological and political problem. The music industry is shaped by people who don't want to take risks and who prefer to stay in their comfort zone. This results in limiting the diversity of voices and perspectives in rap and music in general. Thérèse: yes, and there's also a political dimension to all of this. The music industry, and major labels in particular, are often led by people with a specific ideology. They're not interested in promoting artists with new or progressive ideas. It's a deeper problem that goes beyond the simple issue of music. Visibility strategies and alternative support. Éloïse Bouton: so what are the alternative ways that artists like you, Thérèse, can use to gain more visibility? Thérèse: as an independent artist, I've learned a lot about how to use various channels to reach my audience. I do concerts, interviews, participate in panels, and I also use social media a lot. It's a way to bypass the traditional industry system and create a more direct connection with my listeners. Antoine Dabrowski: yes, and that's where media outlets like Tsugi Radio come in. We try to provide a platform for artists who aren't always highlighted by major radio stations or traditional media. It's our way of contributing to greater diversity in the music scene. Thérèse: exactly. It's crucial to have media that play this role of connector between artists and the public. The problem is that many media outlets focus solely on the big stars and neglect emerging artists or those who don't fit the traditional mold. Antoine Dabrowski: it's a real issue even for independent media. There are economic limitations that sometimes restrict our ability to cover a broader diversity of artists, but it's a challenge we're willing to take on. For example, we collaborate with institutions and other media to create more diverse content and broaden our reach. Criticism of streaming platforms and remuneration models. Éloïse Bouton: let's talk about streaming platforms. Thérèse, you mentioned that the current system is unsustainable for independent artists. Can you tell us more? Thérèse: yes, the remuneration model of streaming platforms is a real scam for most artists. To be able to live off your music on these platforms, you need to reach an astronomical number of streams, which is unrealistic for most independent artists. Additionally, the platforms benefit enormously from our content without offering fair compensation. Antoine Dabrowski. Absolutely. It's a deeply unfair system. The major labels have privileged deals with the platforms, which completely distorts the playing field. Even when there are attempts to change, like shifting from one model to another, these initiatives are often superficial. Thérèse. Yes. And what's frustrating is that artists still have to be present on these platforms because it's become an obligation. It's total hypocrisy, because it creates a vicious cycle where only artists who already have great visibility or significant financial resources can truly benefit from them. The importance of transparency and demystifying the industry, Éloïse Bouton. So, to summarize, there's a need for greater transparency in the music industry, right? Thérèse. Absolutely. It's important for people to understand how the music industry works. Success doesn't just come down to talent. There are many other factors at play, such as money, connections, and marketing. Many of the big artists never talk about these realities. The public needs to be aware that every stream, every purchase has a direct impact on artists. Antoine Dabrowski. Yes, I agree. It's essential to demystify the idea that an artist, alone in their room, creates a song and instantly becomes a star. That's not the reality. There's a lot of work behind the scenes and many professionals involved in getting music to the audience. The podcast Madame Talk Europe is produced by Madame Rap and supported by the European Union through the LIVEMX program. It's available on all listening platforms and in 6 languages.